Peace family, welcome back to my channel. My name is Amy from the Bohemian Healing Company, and I am so glad that you clicked on this video because we got some things to talk about. Now, first of all, I want to put out the disclaimer that I am not judging anyone or anyone's path. You can do whatever you would like to do. My only apprehension comes when individuals choose to demonize a path that is not their own. There are many paths to God, right? Religion is a tool, many tools for many different projects. My projects don't require organized religion at this time. And if yours do, that's great. What I want to talk about today, however, is a trend that has been going on YouTube called New Age to Jesus. And I'm sure you've seen this, especially if you've been interested in spirituality and you happen to be melanated, because a certain spiritual practitioner, PBTV for short, has come out and essentially renounced everything that she has been about for the last few years. She's no longer doing tarot readings. She came out and had a lot to say about spirituality, chakras, meditation, yoga, you name it. And I just wanted to make sure that there is counter information out there. Kudos to Conjure Queen, who put out this challenge for fellow spiritual practitioners to put their own testimonies out about spirituality, right? So here's mine. Spirituality saved my life. I grew up very, very, very religious, to the point that I was going to church multiple times a day, some days. Growing up in that way taught me that I wasn't good enough. I'm sure that wasn't necessarily what they were hoping to teach me, but that's what I got from it. I was constantly told how I was an enemy to God and that I'm a sinner, and God, pretty much my whole life became about proving my worthiness, proving that I deserve to exist, proving that I'm not like all those other people that God is an enemy to. And I just grew up with this very harsh idea of what life is, about what the universe is, about who God is. I remember being told not to go to college, that my focus should instead be on finding a man and having a child, that I should be married 18, 19, 20, 21. After 21, it's like, oh, damn, this lady's old. When is she gonna find a man, and live happily ever after? And while I still value partnership and absolutely adore the idea of motherhood and the divine feminine, and I find so much beauty in that expression, I'm also so much more than that. And growing up, I was very stifled, and I was really confused about, first of all, why was I created if I'm such an enemy to the person who created me? And why do I have such a thirst and hunger for knowledge and all of that if I'm not meant to learn and teach and go to college? Why am I being frowned upon for exploring my own mind and wanting to learn more? I was also, the same patriarchal BS. I grew up with that, right? A woman stays in the kitchen, stays at home, the man works, the women have no place in the church, the men do all of the things in the church. That's how I grew up, right? I hated being a woman for a long time. I cursed being a woman. Why did I have to be a girl? I want to be a guy, Not to the point of identifying as trans, but to the point where I can markedly see that males in this religion got the better end of everything. What else? Okay, so as such, I became such a perfectionist with my life that I developed anxiety and depression, right? I was so nervous to make a mistake, to sin, to not make it to heaven. Like, I was constantly just stuck in my mind, like, oh no, I'm going to hell. No matter what I do, I'm gonna go to hell, right? Like, man, I had a bad thought. I must be going to hell. It was a lot for me personally. For my personality, that was not the way to go. Suicidal thoughts, depression, anxiety. I turned to drugs. So much so that my skin started falling off, my hair started looking crazy. I was reaching for anything that I could because there was an emptiness. I did not feel that this religion was bringing me closer to love and to expansion and to self-love and empowerment. It wasn't anything like that for me. It was more oppressive, and it was more someone trying to catch me doing something wrong versus learning and growing and making mistakes and learning from the mistakes. And it was very fixed mindset. If you're familiar with growth and fixed mindset, for me, my religious experience was with the fixed mindset, where it's like, oh, like, there's no room for growth here, you're just doomed. And growth mindset is the idea that, yeah, you're gonna make mistakes, you're gonna fail, you're going to fall on your ass. It just seemed in my religious experience that there was no room for that. Not to mention, very early on, I realized that I love all people, that my sexual expression is not limited to male or female or even those two binaries. Like, I was attracted to women very early on. I was attracted to men very early on, and that was confusing as well, to have these natural feelings and inclinations, and then to be told in the same breath that they are all evil and wrong, and I had a choice. Anyway, that is my background when it comes to organized religion, and I got to such a point of addiction, depression, it was rock bottom, y'all. It was rock bottom. And that is when I discovered spirituality. And spirituality, the main difference for me is that it empowers the individual. Empowering the individual. Which religion, I'm asking honestly, does that for its followers? Which religion is empowering? Are there sects of Christianity that empower the individual? I don't know. I haven't found one personally. So when I found spirituality and I started to realize certain things about my body and about my existence, learning about chakras, learning about crystals, learning about our connections to plants, learning that we can access, different realms, when we go to sleep. That's the astral plane. When we are trying to connect to our higher selves, moving through our chakras and how to do that. I learned about meditation. I learned about yoga and just all these beautiful things to help me manage my mind, I now had this anxiety and depression to mitigate. So I used tarot and meditation. I used affirmations. I used all of the things that I use intuitively now. I was learning about then. And there is such an amount of peace that I was able to find. I was one of those people who would always say, I can't meditate. I can't get my mind to be quiet. Like, there is no way that I can ever have peace in my mind. I went from a place like that to now being able to enjoy meditation and to find the calm and to find the peace. And I'm even at the point now where I am creating meditations for other people so that they can listen and tap in and relax and figure out, what's going on inside of you that is wanting some attention, that is preventing you from having or experiencing whatever you want to have and experience. So for me, spirituality empowered me, gave me back some control, gave me some tangible ways that I could address myself and the things that I was going through. It gave me ways that I could feel more connected and feel more loved. For some people, they find that in religion. For others, they find that on their own. And I am not bashing either choice, right? Some people aren't choosing. They have religion and spirituality, and that's great. Again, I'm making this video because there are so many people out there bashing what saved me. And if it can save me, and I know that it saved a lot of my friends and acquaintances out there, if those two things are true, right, which I know they are, it is then important for me to make this video in case it helps anyone else who has perhaps been frightened away from spirituality because religious people are bashing it. There is nothing inherently evil about learning about chakra systems, your energy systems. These are scientifically proven, and there's nothing wrong with them. In fact, if you are aware of them, you can make your own life a little more seamless. You can make things run a little more smoothly. Same thing with meditation. There is nothing evil about quieting your mind. There's nothing wrong with listening to the thoughts that are coming up for you. There's nothing wrong with purposefully changing those thoughts, purposefully choosing the thoughts that you would like to replace other thoughts with. There's nothing inherently wrong with any of that. I started reading tarot probably about 5 years ago. That path for me has been incredible. It's been an incredible path as well, and I want to talk briefly about tarot before we wrap this video up, because that's another thing that was targeted, or that's continuously targeted by religious individuals. I will definitely say that you should be mindful of who you allow into your space, into your subconscious mind, right? Because that is what we are accessing when we are reading tarot. It illuminates your subconscious, and it shows the energy that you are living the most in, all right? When people are reading tarot, you as a person getting the reading have to be vulnerable and open so that that person can tap in. And just like with anything that requires vulnerability, you don't necessarily want to be vulnerable with just anybody. You want to make sure that whoever you are going to is on a similar resonance with you. You want to make sure that the way they are speaking and the messages that they are giving people feel empowering to you. If it feels more like someone's getting cursed, or someone's being told, if it feels like the movies, if a tarot reading feels like the movies, all dark and dreary and creepy, like you can't do anything to fix it, or, then you probably shouldn't go to that tarot person, because our minds are highly susceptible. So if they put this idea in your mind that X, Y, and Z is going to happen, you might then be worried or scared or afraid or obsessed about that thing, So tarot is not something that you should just go to anybody for. If you want to read it for yourself, great. But in terms of getting a reading from someone else, I wouldn't suggest that unless and until you've developed a connection with that reader. That is why I put so much of my work for free online, right? So that you can see who I am, you can see how I read, you can see that, you know, my approach to tarot is very empowering, and it is not necessarily based on the future. It's based off of your subconscious energy. I agree with religious people when they say you should be wary of getting spiritual anything from just anybody, right? You need to know if that person has your best interest in mind. You need to know what that person knows, how much work and how much studying they've put in. Because just like religion, there's a lot of spiritual texts, there's a lot of spiritual rules and things that you need to know about. Spirituality and religion are similar in that there are really great positive light beings, and there's also some demons and some evil going on. Demons are not exclusive to spirituality. They still exist within Christianity, Catholicism, organized religion in general. So don't allow other people's stories about conflict to deter you from spirituality, because these same entities, these same things, the same evil exists in religion as well, okay? Tarot, divination, those sorts of things. You have the power to impact the future. The future is liquid, right? Sometimes with tarot, these readers will tell you that there's only one potential future, and that's not true, right? It depends on you, what you're about to do, what decisions you're about to make, and how you are handling yourself moving forward. So please know that you are your best oracle, that you have the power to lead your own life, to control certain outcomes in your life. For me personally, when it comes to spells and spell work, if we're diving into that, I want each of you to make sure that you're not just going online and Googling spells and just saying them randomly to whoever. I also want to make sure that you're not going to just any random person and saying, hey, can you do a spell for me? I personally don't do spells. I might have herbs and candles and things to help naturally raise certain vibrations, but I just want y'all to know there's a certain amount of karma that comes with spell work, okay? Especially if you are seeking to take away someone else's choice through your spell, okay? Source, God, the universe, has given us the power to choose for ourselves. And it is my opinion that when you take that away from someone else, there are consequences, right? Or there are things that you have to do, or, you know, it's not free, okay? Nothing is free. So me personally, I enjoy nature. I like to work with nature. I like to work with herbs. And I work with the elements. It's called animism, you know, where you look at life as though it is alive, because it is alive. You know, crystals, flowers, birds, everything has something, some sort of message. So for me, the way I live my life is a reverence for all beings, especially the elements. This has helped me to feel so much more connected to myself, to earth, to my ancestors, to just life in general. I want you to know that I feel now more happy and joyful and empowered and self-assured than I have ever felt in my entire life. And this has everything to do with spirituality and spiritual practices, with learning that I am powerful, and that through Source, through God, the Creator, I get to enjoy certain gifts and certain opportunities. I want you guys to know that practicing tarot or spirituality doesn't mean that you don't believe in God. it doesn't mean that, you know, I've just been seeing a lot of people, a lot of tarot readers, a lot of people in the comments assuming that because someone's spiritual, they don't believe in God. And that's absolutely not true, not necessarily true, right? I don't know everybody's life, but for me, I absolutely believe in source. I absolutely believe that I have been created, and, you know, if I was created, someone created me, right? Tarot does not mean, or practicing tarot or being interested in tarot or spirituality does not mean that you don't believe in God. Doesn't mean that you are negating the existence of God, or you're saying, oh, no, I'm atheist, I'm going to read tarot. Most of the practitioners that I know are God-fearing people. I wouldn't say God-fearing necessarily, but believers in God, right? Believers in a higher power, believers in something or someone out there directing all of these pieces, okay? So you can absolutely have faith in a higher power and still meditate and still read tarot and still believe in chakras and still have crystals everywhere. I hope that as certain people are exposing themselves for the frauds that they are, my hope is that you will not lose faith in these tools or in these practices, but that you will instead put more faith in yourself and your ability to discern and to choose what is right for you, and to decide not to follow blindly, you know? There are many paths that lead to God, and anyone who tells you that there is only one way is probably pushing an agenda. Speaking of agendas, for my little conspiracy theorists out there, you might want to check into Project Pogo. This is a project where it is alleged that the government is having or paying some people off, you know, in the YouTube world to express certain views, to get more people to adhere to that or at least acknowledge it. So just be mindful, go research that. I don't want to talk too much about it here, but go do that. And again, I want to emphasize your spiritual development should be of the utmost priority, right? Figuring out what you believe yourself with your solar plexus chakra. I think, and I've been saying this all year, that 2020 is really blasting open our solar plexus chakra, and it is forcing us to shine our truth, forcing us to expose ourselves pretty much, you know, for what we are. Some people have chosen to make themselves out to be something that they're not, and now their solar plexus is showing, hey, tricked you, or I tried to trick you. And you will also notice those people that remain the same, those people who have been preaching the same thing for forever, who continuously show you support, love, and the truth, right? So use your discernment through all things. It's going to help you not just with this religion or spirituality conversation, but with everything in your life. You are a lot less easy to persuade when you know what you stand for and you know why you stand for it. Okay? So, I love you. I hope that this video gave you something. And if it didn't, thanks for being here anyway. I love you so much, and I'll see y'all later. Be careful out here. Be mindful. All right. Bye, y'all.